So as Ken said, my name is Morash. I am the Southeast Regional Manager for the PPC program of ISO. I also manage the community rating system, which is the flood program for ISO for half the country as well. So there's two groups of people, two different organizations I cover.
What we're going to speak today about is on the classification, the public protection classifications. So how many people in the room are familiar with ISO and what we do, besides fire departments? A couple police chiefs, maybe. So what we do is we are a company, we are a data analytic company that visits communities. Approximately every 5 years we go to a community now, and we determine the protection that a fire department can serve to that community for a first alarm fire. So what level of service can they provide to that community for a first alarm structure fire? That information is then sold to the insurance companies. So the insurance companies then can determine how to rate your premium based upon that knowledge, based upon that information.
How many folks get calls from residents complaining about the insurance rates going up when they get renewals? Quite often, happens quite a bit. You'll get residents calling up saying, you know, my premium went up $2,500, $500, whatever it may be, and they're trying to figure out why. Comes to find out that ISO, our group, may have been in the area doing reevaluations. And during that course of time, what happened is that when we reevaluated the community for fire protection, we got a little more in depth in what we were looking for, where we noticed there are areas, or we found there are areas that do not have some sort of water source, a credible water source, meaning a hydrant. So then when that resident goes back to renew the policy, we then tell the insurance company that in that area, that resident does not have a hydrant in that area. In all these years, the insurance company was rating it as a hydranted property. Now it's not hydranted. Now the rates are starting to go up. This is a very common problem we're starting to see quite a bit lately, and we're getting a lot of phone calls on this. Due to the fact of how really technical we're getting with our information, especially when it comes to receiving that information in a digital format. The old ways that we used to look at paper maps, now we actually get very digital and very down to the nitty-gritty on per property. So that's what we do. So really what we are is we have a model. We like to say we work together to make communities safer. We want to see the best classification that a community can get. That's really our goal. We don't want to come into a community and rate a community to see if it can go backwards. It happens. Okay? It does happen. Not as often as it used to, but it does happen. Our goal is to help the community improve. We offer a lot of assistance out there to communities to improve their classifications. We offer a lot of education sessions to communities to better their classifications. We offer a lot of one-on-one if we have to help these communities better their classifications. The way we work is no longer the old days of spending weeks in the community. We really spend hours in the community. We work with the departments when the community's up front to gather that information so that before we make our physical visit, we have a chance to review what was said to us. So we can make sure that those improvements or changes or something that was not correct has been corrected by the time we come back. So we really modernize the way we do things. We look at our schedule. What we do is we rate communities based upon a schedule. It's a book of calculations. And we rate the community based upon those calculations. So we look at the schedule every 5 years or so to see what needs to be changed. What is predictive in that schedule that is lost, that has a predictive value of loss. So that's really what we're looking for. So we try to go through that schedule and say, are we missing something in the schedule that's more predictive than something else that we already had there? What needs to be changed? We're constantly looking at the schedule to review that schedule and bring more predictability to the loss report. you're going to start seeing a lot of paperwork coming out, and a lot of communities may have already seen it, where we've done a rebranding. We used to have a red flag, the old red ISO flag that used to be on all the paperwork that could build communities. We now go by a new global logo, because we are really global. We're a global company. We touch many countries across the globe in doing various different things in data analytics. So the community hazard mitigation, that name still falls under the PPC and ISO logo, has 4 different programs of which we look at. One program, which we're going to speak about today, is the PPC program. That's the fire suppression capabilities. Another division in the ISO is the scopes program. That program does individual buildings. They go out and they look at individual buildings for the insurance companies to get them a rating on that specific property. We have the building code effectiveness rating, that's the VSAX rating. That group of folks, what they do is they kind of do the same job as the PPC group, except that they evaluate the building department. They want to see what level of service the building department provides to the community, so the insurance companies can set that rate appropriately. And as well as the CRS program, that's the National Flood Insurance Program, where we go out and evaluate the communities, look at various different items that are in the CRS manual that we work along with FEMA, so that we can appropriately give the FEMA group classification so they too can set rates for the insurance policies. So the reason we exist is because of fire. That's what the PPC program is about fire. We don't look at anything else but fire-related topics. We don't look at medical faults when we evaluate a community. We don't look at vehicle accidents. It's all about fire. What level, when that type of fire that's out there, what does that community have to serve protection for a fire in their area? Fire is one of the biggest losses, single causes of insured property in the United States. A lot of people get injured every year in fire. You see a lot of firefighters die every year in fire. So one of the key factors we really vamped up on is training when we look at fire departments. We want to see what level of training a fire department has to really, one, assist in less injuries and deaths for the firefighters, as well as be able to deliver a service to that community and what the knowledge is to do that. So we used to evaluate almost 48,000 fire districts across the country. We're starting to see that number drop. We're starting to see, right now, the slice is about 46. I think we're a little lower now. We're probably about 42,000 fire districts community. One of the reasons we're seeing this is we're seeing a lot of volunteer departments going away across the country. This is a very common problem we're seeing. And what happens is a lot of the county departments are starting to absorb it. They're taking them over. Volunteers is a dying breed of people, I hate to say it, because no longer can someone work in the community and serve the community. And then the levels of training and certifications that a state has mandated is hard for that person to keep up with. So we're starting to see a lot of those smaller type agencies going away. When we also look at communities, we also want to see what does that community have that fire department has to protect. And that's what we call relative to the risk. Because we always hear from communities that, hey, you know, you guys come out and evaluate our community, you did a fantastic job, but I don't understand. We have so much, we have all this equipment, we have all these stations, we have this much personnel. The community next to us, they're small, they don't really have much. But they're a better classification than us. How did that happen? So what we tell communities, what we tell folks is that really what is the overall fire load in that community? What does that fire department have to protect? If it's a small fire load, the chances they'll get a better classification is there. Because there's less to protect and less of the need to have to go and do compared to a large department. If they have big commercial properties, they're going to need more apparatus, they're going to need more personnel. The level of training is going to be a little more for them. So the relative to risk is how we grade communities. So we help a lot of communities, like I said at the beginning, we help a lot of communities prepare for the survey. We are really pushing this over the past couple of years. We want to assist you. We want to be your friend. We want to assist you getting the best you can be for classification. We also want to help you prepare. We're free. The phone call's free. The advice is free. Doesn't mean because you send us an email or phone call, we're going to come out the next day and evaluate it. Okay? We really want to sit down. We want to help you. We want to make sure you understand the process of which you have to go through, and hopefully you understand or can calculate your classification before we even get in the door. That's the level which we want to make sure you understand the overall protection or the overall job of which we do, that you too can do it yourself. Be prepared for us. So, we changed schedules. In 2013, we went through a different thinking or methodology of looking at things. Our old schedule we used to have, it was created in 1980, 1983, and we changed in 2013. So you saw about a 20-year period where we looked at the same items the same way across the board. Nothing ever changed. We never really saw improvements coming out of that schedule for community. We just stayed flat. Not a lot happened. The reason why is because fire services changed. Communications, the way phone calls were coming in changed. Cellular phones became a big thing. People making phone calls over the computers, right? The whole level of things has changed. Water delivery has changed as well. And those are the things we had to look at. So we had to change with it. So the way and the methodology in which we do things from the old ways is different. We get a lot of positive feedback from communities because they see and they appreciate what they've done. They're starting to see that in their overall classifications. They know the hard work that the fire department, communications, the water department put into it is finally paying off. And they're seeing that and they're able to give that to their residents. So we're getting a lot of positive feedback on it. We always allow communities to make improvements on their classifications. If they're not happy with something, we want you to make improvements. Let's sit down and have that discussion. What did not go right? What don't you like? What didn't we see that you said was there? Maybe we missed something. Maybe the communication wasn't right. We wanted to feel the threat went there. So we want to make sure you have that opportunity to make improvements. So there's a lot of values for this for the community. Provides a direct and visible incentive for communities to improve the quality of fire protection. Promotes business and industry expansion. So one of the things that we see across the country is with economic development. As you better your PPC classification, you're helping your economic development in your community. Because you're bringing a tool to your community. You're bringing a benefit of which somebody else may not have. So when you come and try to get businesses come to your area, you're giving them a discount, in reality, what you're doing. So you may be a class 2, the neighboring community may be a 4 or 5. That class 2, you're telling those business owners that we're going to give you, if you come into our area, the level of fire protection is better. Therefore, you should get a better discount compared to those neighboring areas. So come on in, it's cheaper to come to us. And the level of protection is better overall. So you're getting that, so you're making those people come with the economic development in your area. Budgeting purposes. Everybody likes to use ISO, well, not everybody. The fire departments, the fire chiefs like to use ISO when it comes down to budgeting purposes, right? Because everybody likes to be told, city manager we hear all the time, or mayor we hear it from all the time, is that my fire chief says that you told him we need a ladder truck. Is that true? Now we got to have that conversation. So we try to explain to them why we say they need a ladder truck. Okay, so it's just not, they're hearing that from one person, they're hearing it from us directly. There may be times where we have to explain it, and the overall is that you don't need a ladder truck. It happens. But we try to make that clear so everybody's on the same page. Justification for change and improvements in fire service in the community, again, free advice and insurance savings. For property owners, potential lowest insurance premiums in the area. We recognize sprinkler buildings for commercial properties. So if a commercial property has that sprinkler in it, sprinkler system to suppress the water, to suppress fires, the overall building rating for that is going to be less. The overall fire load is going to be less for that building. Helps improve fire suppression capabilities, lower fire losses in the areas, and a competitive advantage for new business development. For the insurers, it helps improve the statistical correlation between improved PPC and lower property losses, helps marketing and underwriting and policy and pricing policies in the area, identifies different rating factors. Insurance companies, what they really want to know is they want to know, one, where's the fire station located to the property? Is there actually people coming out of that fire station? Is there an actual apparatus running from that fire station? They want to know what type of water supply, what's the delivery of that water being delivered to that property. And they want to know, one thing they want to know automatic aid. A lot of insurance companies are getting involved in that. They're wanting us to help communities get involved with automatic aid. They don't like those properties that are outside the 1,000-foot buffers of water supplies. They don't like those properties that are outside 5 miles from a fire station. Those are high-risk properties, high-risk style properties. They're trying to get us more involved with the communities, to sit down with the communities and show them how to write automatic aid agreements. Get them involved with neighboring communities to write these policies, so that somebody's covering that property with some sort of level of protection. So we have field analysis. We have about 83 people across the country that visit the communities. We go out, they survey different communities around the country. They're looking for what level of fire protection they have. That's really what their jobs are. They're probably doing about 120 communities a year, maybe a little more. In the old days, we used to do about 30, 40 a year. So our pace has definitely picked up. We used to visit communities every 15 years. We're now on a 5-year schedule. We've seen a lot of development happen in a short amount of times, and insurance companies really wanted up-to-date information. What we see insurance companies consistently pulling us on is, as new development happens in your areas, you're dropping in hydrants in those locations. We don't have that information, because we don't go back to you until every 5 years. So a new development or project happens, that person now looks for insurance. The insurance company sees that as a property without a hydrant, because we never had a hydrant there before. They get a Class 9 rating. They then turn around to ISO. Said, but there's a hydrant in front of that property. We don't know about it. So we really, the bond that we create with the community, we hope that as you're developing, as you're dropping hydrants in the ground, or you're delivering water in some sort of fashion to that property, that you're letting us know. You're letting us know, at least maybe quarterly, yearly, however often you can get it to us, so that we can keep our maps up to date, so the insurance company can properly rate those properties. So we've seen a lot of improvement, like we said, over many years, from the 80 schedules to the new schedule. We're seeing a lot of communities going from the old 8, 7, 6s, now coming to 5s, 4s, 3s. We're seeing an increase in Class 1 communities across the country. In Georgia alone, we're up to about 23 Class 1 departments. That's really nice. Shows us the level of service has really taken off in Georgia. I know standards of training, everybody's been heavily involved in changing the fire service. So it's really starting to pay off with what we're seeing in Georgia alone. So when we look at the schedule, we look at a community, what we're doing is we're evaluating you on a first alarm response. Okay? Meaning, what is being dispatched on that initial call? That's what we're looking at. That's what's being evaluated. We're not looking at once the fire trucks arrive and once the apparatus and personnel roll there, they assess the fire scene, then they call for extra personnel. We're not looking at that. What is the community sending on that initial alarm is what we're going to make our evaluation on. We like to say this is a community evaluation, not a fire department evaluation. Although the fire department really, they're the ones who put a great amount of time into preparing for when we visit. But it's a community evaluation because at the end, the benefit is for the community, for those residents in that area to benefit. This used to be a 100-point schedule. We have now added additional bonus points into the schedule. The bonus points come in when we look at fire investigations, fire inspections, and public education programs. We know a lot of communities have been heavily involved in this for many, many years, but we're not getting credit for these items. So we've decided to bring this in. We couldn't make it a mandate in the schedule because there's still departments who will not and still do not do these things. So we want to give credit to those who are, so we've given them as extra bonus points. When we look at our schedule, when we evaluate different items in the schedule, we use different references. We use AWWA, that's American Water Works. We use APCO. APCO is a portion of which how dispatch and communications works. And we use several standards when it comes to National Fire Protection Association, that's the NFPA. So we use certain references when we look at the evaluation overall. So when we come to look at your community, we've got to figure out how do we rate you? Is the community going to be a single class community? Is this community going to be a class 9 community? Or are they going to be class 10? Or what properties are going to fall in those classifications? So when we look at a class 1 through 8 community, what we are doing overall is we're evaluating those properties, those insured properties that are within 5 miles of a recognized fire station. So we're looking at all the properties within 5 miles of a recognized fire station and that are within 1,000 feet of some sort of credible water system, whether it's hydranted or whether it's being delivered on wheels. Class 9 properties are those properties still within 5 miles of a fire station, of a recognized fire station, but are outside the 1,000-foot range of a credible water source. Those are your class 9 insured properties. Class 10 properties are those properties that are beyond 5 miles of a fire station. Even if they have water out there, they're still class 10s. Okay? So that's the first determination we're going to make, is how does the community rate and what properties are we looking at? So here's another way of looking at it. We look at the polygon, 2 fire stations in the polygon. Everything in blue is some sort of pressurized or credible water source. So the community would then be a class 6, straight 6 community, meaning everything within 5 miles, everything has a hydranted or some sort of credible within 1,000 feet of property. All properties in that community get a class 6 rating. When the insurance company looks it up, they pull up an address, comes back as class 6, that's how they rate it. Then we find communities out there who go ahead and they annex a little property, have the chance to annex, bring some property into the area. Well, they start development. So the pink area in this instance represents still those properties within 5 miles, but there is no water out there. So now the community becomes a split class community, a 6-9. So now the insurance company, they go ahead and they look at the property and they make the determination, where does that property fall? If it's within a hydrant, it should fall into class 6. If it's outside a hydrant area, it should fall into the class 9. But you get a lot of phone calls from insurance people asking, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you tell me the classification that this is? Or can you tell me if there's a hydrant out there? I have a resident who says differently. So we see this all the time from a lot of communities getting these phone calls, and then we have to go back and do the research. A lot of times we do find this new development popped in the 9 area, that hydrant's been put out there. We then have to make the adjustment, send it out to the insurance companies so that they know to go ahead and rewrite that policy. Communities also then have an opportunity to annex a little more property. So they pick up this little green piece of polygon area out here, find out that this is 5 miles from a fire station. 5 miles from a fire station. These properties are now class 10s. So again, the insurance company then has to figure out where do these properties fall in and how do we rate these properties. So one thing the insurance companies don't like to see is this class 10 out here. They want these residents to get some relief. So the only way we see, unless you build a fire station, the community invests the money to build a fire station out there, the only other alternative is automatic aid. Automatic aid now has a recognized fire station within 5 miles of this property. This property now becomes a class 9. No water, class 9, relief has been given. What if this class 9 area is blue? What if it's blue? What classification would it end up getting? 6? Okay, why do we say 6? Because why? Because it falls in the legally defined boundaries of the primary fire department. So it's their jurisdiction, it's their classification. Does not get the automatic aids classification. That's been a fear for a long time. That's why we found a lot of communities not signing automatic aid agreements. Their fear is that those residents would get a better classification than the rest of the citizens, but that doesn't happen. They get your classification. Your legally defined boundary gets your classification. So it gets class 6. So then we have the H and 9, we talked about the H and 9, the 9s, and we have something called an 8B. 8B, what we have is we call it a glorified 9. Okay? Just basically telling the insurance companies that it's a little better than the 9 because the fire department is able to deliver 4,000 gallons of water on that initial alarm call. The fire department has at least 6 people responding to that fire scene, to that property. The fire department of that 6 personnel, their level of training is higher than a class 9. So therefore, the insurance company can give a discount based upon an 8B credit for that property. And that's what those items look like when we look at national policies. Then we have something called the 10W. So 10W, communities don't see this happen. The fire department don't get this result on its paperwork. Or the community doesn't get this result in their paperwork. What a 10W does is it tells a insurance company or insurance agent that there's a property beyond 5 miles of a fire station, but within 7 miles of another fire station. So between 5 and 7 miles. And there's a hydrant out there, or a delivery of some sort of credible water source out there. So these people, because our actuaries did a lot of studies to determine that the fire loss is less because there's water in that area, should get a discount. So we tell the insurance companies, if you have this property, you then can issue a discount to these residents. And that's what a 10W is. Okay? Community doesn't see it, fire department don't see it on the paperwork. It's all built into the system for the insurance companies to view. All right. So our classification, the 10-point classification, 1 being the best, 10 being the worst. All right. The reason the reason I like to show this this particular slide, especially when it comes to the fire departments, when I teach these presentations, we go through the schedule, is because there's certain items in the schedule that are worth 10 points. You can hit a 1-point item and make a class change alone, based upon 1 item. So we like to show that it's 10 points there. You work on certain things, you can easily move to the next class. So in Georgia, we're seeing a lot of single class communities. We don't see too many 9s no more. A lot of that's being taken away. A lot of 9s, what we're starting to see is a lot of alternative water being supplied to those areas. Fire department is getting really involved in delivering a better level of protection to a lot of areas that never had water. So when we look at the overall schedule, we come out to do our evaluation. We're going to look at the communication section. That's 10 points of a 100-point schedule. We're going to look at the fire department, which is 50 points of the 100 scale of 100 points. We are going to look at the water supply. That's the utility department, or who's delivering that water. That's 40 points of the 100. And we're going to look at the bonus points of the 5.5 additional points. We're also going to make sure that a community meets the minimum requirements of which we have. Okay, you have to meet minimum requirements. So the community must be organized under all applicable state and local laws. Must have 4 of its own people. So the community must have 4 of its own firefighters that can respond to a fire. You can't have 2 of yours and 2 of somebody else to make 4. You have to have 4 of your own. We see this quite a bit, especially with the volunteer departments. We're seeing quite a bit of this in Georgia lately. A lot of the counties in Georgia that have the volunteer departments consistently saying, well, we have 2 people, they always respond with 2, we respond with 2, so can't we get everybody together and just become the 4 people? The answer is no. You've got to be your own people. You've got to be 4 of your own people. So when that happens, and they only have 2 people, it becomes a class 10 community, because you do not have enough personnel to respond. These 4 people need at a minimum of 12 hours of training, structural fire training. They have to have some sort of alarm notification, which is the way the call comes to those personnel. We're starting to see a lot of communities switching over to cell phones. They send a text message to the membership saying, the fire is at such location. That is not credible. We don't accept cell phones. A cell phone is through an open public network switching system. Therefore, there's no guarantee that message or that call is actually going to be received by the membership. So cell phones we will not credit. We want to make sure what type of apparatus they have. Do they have an apparatus which we require says the NFP 1901 standard, which basically says a Class A pumper. Okay? The old knockers, we see a lot of the old knockers still laying around in Georgia. Those are the big old tankers, we should just call them, with barely carrying any equipment on them. They don't pump what we want them to pump. Therefore, they're not credible. Those communities now become class 10s. The apparatus has to be housed. We want to make sure that apparatus is not getting beat up by the weather. We want to make sure that apparatus is housed. We want to make sure the tank of that apparatus is heated, has some sort of heating system, so that that water cannot freeze during those temperatures. So those are the things we're looking for as we're walking in the door, and to make sure that you can even look forward on a survey. Then we look at these other items. We look at how's the fire department dispatch? How's the call coming in, going out? Who are the people involved in the call taking process? We want to know which fire station responds to those locations. We want to know what equipment is sent, what apparatus is going to the fire scene. We want to know how well is the department trained, equipped, and staffed. We want to know, is there nearby access of adequate, nearby access to water of adequate pressure and volume to fight that fire, and is there automatic gate? Those are all the items that we're going to address when we come out to the community and do the evaluation. So when we look at the communication section, we're going to look at 3 sections of communication. The emergency reporting. So we want to know, how does that call come into the communication center? How fast is the call answered? And how quickly is it processed to get to the membership? That's what we're looking for in emergency reporting. Telecommunicators, we want to know those persons who are answering those calls, are they certified? Are they trained? And there's somebody overlooking what they do. Are they picking up the phone and listening to the calls? Are they listening to callbacks to make sure they're doing their job properly? Then we're going to look at the dispatch circuits. So which is the method of which the call comes to that membership? How does people receive the call? How does membership receive those calls? We want to know about emergency power. Okay? Is there emergency power at the communication system? Is there emergency power at repeater sites? Is there emergency power at fire stations? We want to know all that so that we know that there's going to be no failure of that signal coming across at any point in time. Again, when we look at emergency communications, we look at NFPA as well as that. And then the fire department is about 9 items we're going to look at for the 50 points. We're going to look at the fire engines. So do you have enough engines in the community to meet what we call a basic fire flow? So when we develop a basic fire flow, what a basic fire flow is the amount of water needed for a specific property in the area. Okay? So we develop a needed fire flow for your community. Not for each individual property, but an overall needed fire flow. We look at the highest needed fire flows, and we take the 5th highest one, and we say that's your basic fire flow that you need. So do you have enough engines to meet that basic fire flow? Okay? So if your basic fire flow is 3,000, ISO is going to say you need 3 engines. Okay? You need 3 engines to cover your basic fire flow for your community. We're also going to look at, do you have enough equipment on that engine that's needed? Each engine that we look at is worth 600 points. There's certain equipment that must be carried to obtain that 600 points. So we're going to look at all that equipment on that engine. Those points on the engine, the equipment on the engine points, carry over to a different section called deployment. So we want to know, do you have a properly and well-equipped engine that responds to the fire in X amount of time? If not, you're not eligible to get all those points. Okay, so fire engines. Reserve engines. Do you have a reserve engine? Do you have a piece of apparatus that you can jump on and leave without taking all the equipment off and moving it to another vehicle? That's what we want to know. Right? We are looking for no delay. Everything's consistent without a delay. Pump capacity. If you have enough pumping capacity, again, to meet your basic fire flow. Ladder or service trucks. We need to make a determination, does the community need a ladder truck or do they just need a service truck? Ladder truck meaning the aerial device. Do they have an aerial device because they have so many buildings in their community that are 3-story or taller? If they have 5 buildings, if you have 5 buildings in your community that are 3 stories or taller in height, you need a ladder truck. If you don't have 5, you just need a service truck. Okay? Again, with the reserve, we want to make sure you have a reserve ladder service so you're able to just get on and go out the door. Deployment analysis. So what we're looking for here is, are your stations properly located so that the overall percentage covers the area of your protection? Okay, so we look at engine companies. Every station has an engine in it. We say, what is the overall percentage that your engines cover in a 1.5 mile travel distance? Then we do the same for ladder companies. What is the overall percentage which a ladder company covers? We look at that number, we say, that's the credit that's available. But we also look at another study. We give the community opportunity to show us they can do better than what we want them to do. Because that's a study we do, is a road-based study. But we tell the community, you document every time there's a fire, are you documenting when the call came in and when you arrived on the fire scene? If so, we want to see that data, because we want to give you an opportunity to show us that you can do it better than our road-based study. So we want to know the times the engine arrives on the fire scene. Does the first engine arrive in 5 minutes and 20 seconds? That's what we're looking for. From the time of being dispatched to getting on the fire scene, can it get there in 5 minutes and 20 seconds? The ladder truck and the second engine, because we call it a complement, we want to know, can they arrive in 9 minutes and 20 seconds? If they can, the credit is much more better off than a road-based study. So we are watching every piece. We watch from the time the call comes in dispatch, how they answered it, they processed it, they sent it out, the arrival on the fire scene is everything we're tracking for this community to get better points. We're looking at personnel. Do they have enough personnel to man that apparatus? So every engine that we look at that a community has, we measured against 6 people. That's how it's measured, against 6 people. Okay? The 6 people come from various studies that are out there. Okay? To say, what is the safest fireground operations? And it's 1 officer, an engineer, or an operator, and a 2 and 2 out crew. So therefore, every engine is measured against 6 people. Every ladder truck is measured against 6 people. So overall, if you're a community, you have 3 engines, how many people do you need for maximum credit? 18 on duty a day. Now let's say you need a ladder truck. That's an additional 6 people. Now you need 24 people a day on duty to man that apparatus to get maximum creditable points. That's why you always hear the fire chief saying, we need personnel, we need personnel, we need personnel. Because they're operating at a level which the safest fireground operations should be. That's why they're always asking for personnel, because that's how we measure them. Training. We look at various items when it comes to training. We want to know, does the fire department utilize the facility? Do they go someplace that the area is big enough so they can maneuver that apparatus around? So they're familiar with the way that apparatus works. We want to know, do they use a structure at least 3 stories in height? For one, they can probably get the aerial devices that they have, the usage and the knowledge of that aerial device to that type of property. We want to know for hose, for ladders, for various operations, we want to know, do they use a 3-story tall structure? We want to know, do they at least do a burn? Once a year, they should be doing a burn. It's a controlled environment in a controlled building. They should not just up in an open area, not because they got a house free and they're able to burn down because no one else wants to do it. It has to be a controlled type of situation that they have to do a burn once a year. They also have various types of company training. Are they getting together as a group and working together, knowing who's going to do what in what type of scenarios? We go through driver training, we go through operator training, we go through pre-fire plans. This department getting out there visiting every commercial structure to know that when they go to that property, what is needed and how to fight that fire at that property. Those are the level of things which we're looking for when it comes to the training of the fire department. Want to know, do they have SOPs or SOGs in place that lay out who does what and where on a fire scene? So it's organized, it's there on the table, everybody's able to see it, everybody's able to read it, so they know what's going on. So that's what we look at in the fire department. It's 50 points. It's quite in depth when you go out in the field because you look at so many different items, but you gather this information because you want to make sure you're telling the insurance company that level of protection of which they're providing, that fire department is providing their property is correct. You just don't want to tell them there's a fire station there. We don't know if it runs or if it doesn't run. We don't know if even personnel ever comes out of a fire station, but we know there's a fire station there. Therefore, give them whatever you want to give them. We go a little more in depth, so the insurance company really values the information that we give them. We look at water supply. We're going to look at how much water is coming out of those hydrants to be measured against a specific type of fire. Okay? We want to know what type of hydrants are out there. Okay? We want to know, do they have an inspection program? We want to know, does the community have a flow testing program? Because we want to know how much water comes out of those hydrants. We want to know that when a fire truck pulls up that hydrant, he knows how much water is coming out of the hydrant, or she knows how much water is coming out of the hydrant, or that hydrant even works. Many times you'll hear a fire department arrives on a fire scene, the hydrant doesn't even work. Or the delivery of water is not what they need to fight that fire. Therefore, the property is lost. So there's a lot of different variations when we look at a lot of different things to do the overall evaluation. Then we get to the bonus points. We look at the fire prevention programs. So in fire inspections, do you have a fire inspection program or a division set up that goes out and they go to the commercial properties and they look at the commercial properties for various violations, inspections, to see what's changing, do they keep them up to date, are they delivering fire safety information programs to these communities, to these properties, so that they know what to do during a fire. We want to know, is the fire department community using the current code? What's the code adopted? What's the overall fire code that's been adopted by the community? Is it current? Is it out of date? Right. We want to know what type of public safety, fire safety programs you're offering to your citizens in the area. You get involved with your community to offer them fire safety information. What are you doing? Community events. You've got a smoke detector program going. You're visiting schools. What are you doing that you're getting involved to deliver fire safety information to your community? It may be over a TV. You may have a county or a city channel that goes out 24 hours a day, runs 24 hours a day, that you're delivering a message to your citizens. You may be putting information in water bills, but you're delivering that information so your citizens know, this is what you do during different situations with fires. Fire investigation. So if there is a fire, is there somebody in your agency or in your community that's able to make the determination that fire is suspicious or not, and does it need a further investigation? So we want to know what type of programs you're involved in. Does your fire department report the difference? Are they reporting all their fires to the state so the state's able to track it? So that's where we're getting in depth. We get all this information, we gather this information, we come up with a classification, and that's the information that we sell to the insurance companies. Any questions? This is a good website to utilize. It's open to the public. A lot of information about ISOs on there, a lot of interesting articles that we put out are on that website on different organizations and different divisions in ISO. Go on, I'm telling you, there is a lot of good information, especially if you're not familiar with ISO. Browse around and take a look.